the idea of privatizing electricity. I could never have imagined, as it is today, that a private person will collect money for services he did not render. Nigeria people are helpless. Even we here as privileged class have had to buy the transformer that I use here in the heart of Abuja. And to install it, I have to persuade, negotiate, and even effect payment to Abuja distribution, whatever, to connect the transformer I have procured personally with my resources. And hereafter, this transformer becomes the property of the disco. And every month, I am asked to pay bill on brand A or whatever.
Under your transformer.
Like you said, sir.
Good evening, viewers and subscribers. You're welcome back again. This is BVI Channel 1, and we are live on Matters Arising. Tonight is a special one as we continue to engage the institutions of impunity in Nigeria. The exposition is limitless, and this one concerns a lot of people because it got to do with life and survival of Nigerian people. Talking about electricity, you can agree with me that that is the epicenter of human existence and survival. I can tell you that when we say that Nigerians have been paying through their nose to be in darkness, today we are going to be exposing, not just exposing, but also telling you what to do to stop the stealing. Because across Nigeria, the disco companies, the electricity distribution companies have been stealing from you point blank, on plain sight. And people have been helpless, including those who are in privileged positions in the society. Today, the thing is hitting them so hard, and they are now picking. Let us go to the National Assembly and hear what Adams Oshiomhole got to say before I will now bring in the specialist who is going to do a deeper exposition on this thing, this stealing that have been happening. And you need to bring all your yard people, all your compound people. If you are using electricity in Nigeria, especially in the southeast, you have to tune in. Tune in now. Tune in now. Tell everybody to gather and hear what they have never had before. And I can tell you, EEDC and their partners in this stealing across Nigeria will be panicking if you get to know this truth. So let us quickly head to National Assembly and bring you the lamentation of the most unlikely people crying about the same thing. If the rich can cry for this purpose, who are Nigerians who are already the biggest victim of this stealing? Now, let us hit the ground run because we have no time. And if you have any question, you ask it after this video we are about to watch and hear things for yourself. All right, take a look at this. I'll be right back.
Reported against the wish of my colleagues the idea of privatizing electricity. My main argument then was that the beauty of capitalism and of private ownership is that in seeking to make profit, they will render a service. But the danger of public ownership is that whether they render a service or not, they draw on the taxpayer treasury in the name of correcting what is there. I could never have imagined, as it is today, that a private person will collect money for services he did not render. And the Nigerian people are helpless. Even we here as privileged class have had to buy the transformer that I use here in the heart of Abuja. And to install it, I have to persuade, negotiate, and even effect payment to Abuja distribution, whatever, to connect the transformer I have procured personally with my resources. And hereafter, this transformer becomes the property of the disco. And every month, I am asked to pay bill on brand A or whatever.
Under your transformer.
Like you said, sir, every state governors, or most, spend public funds, buy transformers for communities. And then you still have to contribute money. Many of us, very soon, when we go back to the electorate, they are going to tell us that for 1 year, for 2 years, they've had no light. What is the problem? No transformer. And then they ask you a senator to go out and buy the transformer. You look for the money, you buy the transformer. And then they say, NEPA says you have to pay for them to connect the transformer to their grid. If cables are 40, you buy the cable for them to install it. Even right now, I have requests from several communities asking me to buy the transformer and to get them connected. And yet, sir, the key element in distribution is transformer and cables, among others. So if these ones are now being procured by state government using public funds and individuals using their personal resources, what is the cost that these discos are incurring? Now, worse, the money they claim to have paid, because the logic of privatization was to inject private capital into these services. In truth, they went to borrow from Nigeria depositor funds in various banks, thereby killing some of those banks who have now become the liability of AMCON, which itself is also a contradiction about the logic of free market. And what they have borrowed, Mr. President, since the privatization took place, what they have borrowed through CBN and other sources is 10 times more than the amount they claim to have paid to become owners of those discos. Lastly, sir, as things stand, discos own no more than 60%, quote, own. So it is arguable where the total money you have borrowed from public sources is more than your private capital, whether you can still claim to be privately owned. 40%, as we speak, still belong to the federal government. But sir, there are no governing councils. There is no governing board for these discos. So federal government owns 60% of a business and it has no say in the board of those companies. So there is no corporate governance. The one of Edo is owned by a pharmacist. The wife is a banker. The pharmacy becomes the chairman. The banker becomes the MD. They mismanage Edo economy, Delta economy, Ondo economy, Ekiti economy, and we are down right now in crisis. Even I, sir, that I don't live in Benin, my bill every month, I can't even afford it. So, Mr. President, I support the motion by my very good friend who lost an earlier motion, thanks to the vigilance of Mr. Senate President and your commitment to protect the poor. But this motion can benefit from a radical review, including the option of revoking the ill-conceived, ill-executed privatization and revisit it in line with the renewed agenda of Mr. President, that no one shall pay for services to a private Nigerian who did not render that service. We are going to a petrol station to buy fuel without a pump. And the person selling the fuel tells us this is the amount of liter I have injected. You are not means to verify it. May your leadership, sir, or common as it is, be the one that gives us the political will to revisit and protect Nigerians, rich or poor, who have been victimized by the fake new owners of this discourse. Thank you, Mr. President.
That is it. You've seen it and you've heard it from Oshiomhole. We are talking about how the discourse have been stealing from you. And without waiting further, let us bring in our guest. He is an activist, an advocate for effective consumers, electricity consumers relations. Okay, he's an expert in understanding how much you should have been paying, but you are being forced to pay far more. How you've been stolen from and how you can recover all the money. You know, some of you have bogus outstanding bills coming from some of these discos across Nigeria. In the case of the Southeast, it is EEDC. They bring humongous bill for you, and you be at their mercy, begging them. Without knowing, you are paying far more than you consumed, or what the law provides you should pay, especially if you are on estimated billing. Let us bring in our brother, Chinedu Okonobum, for him to give us more of this exposition. And I will encourage you to bring on everyone you love, as long as you are using electricity in Nigeria. My brother, you're welcome to the program. It's my pleasure to have you tonight.
Thank you, my brother. I want to say good evening, everybody. So the major thing is that our people say, "Okade ni hone we mwanya."
Yes, you.
So and our people have been asleep in matters that has to do with electricity. And what I'm actually the convener of Umibo Electricity Consumer Right Protection Agency. My name is Ugu Chinedu. So I'm from Enugu State. And what we have been uncovering is that the major problem, I want to outline the bullet points, the key things when you talk about what will ensure that we have stable electricity in Nigeria and in the southeast particularly. There are major places where EEDC or the discos that are in Nigeria are ripping people off. One of those places is that, first of all, people are paying way beyond what they are supposed to pay. If we find a way to meter everybody in Nigeria, you will find out there will be stable power. So, but the problem is that for a very long time, what they've been telling everybody in Nigeria, there's something they call metering gap. And because they say there is metering gap, they created an avenue where metering gap means that they don't have money to provide meter for everybody. If there is meter for everybody, there will be no problem at all, because whatever you use is what you will pay for. But because they say there is a metering gap, they are putting a whole lot of people on estimation. So, and when they do this estimation, there is no scientific method of generating this estimation. They will just come. Most of the time, they bill you. If they look at you and they find out that you have the ability to pay, they will just keep billing you, giving you arbitrary bills that is not generated, that is generated almost from thin air. So, irrespective of the fact that in 2020, Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission brought an order, they call it Order 179. That Order 179 said that nobody who is under estimation should be billed above the what they call the monthly energy cap. But the discos, they hardly obey that. So another place is that if you are moving into a new house and there is accumulated bill in the house that you are moving in, you are not supposed to pay. According to there is if you go to Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, there's what they call Consumer Protection Regulation. According to that Consumer Protection Regulation, if you go to section 25, you are going to find out that it states clearly that if you are moving into a new house, you write a letter to the distribution company and inform them that you are moving into that new house. you will only be eligible to pay for bills from the day you moved into that house. It is the responsibility of the disco to go and recover whatever areas there is in that particular building that you're moving in from the previous occupants. On no account should they bill you for the areas that are accrued from the previous occupants. Secondly, thirdly, if you are if they are forcing you to buy electricity bill, to buy poles, to buy a transformer, it is not your responsibility to do so. If they have coerced you in the past to do that, there are steps that you are going to take to make sure that the issue is redressed. So these are some of the places that they are committing, that they are not playing by the rule. So these are the places. So our people will have to sit up. There are room for redress. So if they have been billing you above the monthly energy cap, this monthly energy cap that I talked about, that is the first point that I talked about. Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission, they releases this monthly energy cap document every month. So if you are an estimation, I'm talking about people who are particularly in estimation. If you have prepaid meter, you don't have any problem. If you have postpaid meter and they read your postpaid meter, you don't have any problem. But if you are on estimation, the figures they are giving you, they generate it arbitrarily. So this monthly energy cap, every month, every feeder every feeder in Nigeria, this monthly energy cap captures it. So in the southeast, every feeder monthly energy cap captures it, and it shows you exactly the amount of money that you are supposed to pay. So if you are paying above that, they are ripping you off. I find a place, I have gone around to look at what people are doing. I find some places that's supposed to pay 20,000. You see EPDC charging them as high as 100 and something thousand naira. That is a report. So if you look at the bills, the areas of bills that have accumulated, we have a way of looking at your bill to make sure that if they have been billing you since 2020, if they have been billing you above the monthly energy, these are the things. So as we go on, come up with question, we'll take it up from there. Thank you.
Very much, my brother. You know, you said it. It looks like you're giving a speech or an address, and many people may not understand this thing critically, because we are going to bring it to a layman's understanding, so that those who are in Nigeria, I don't know why our people don't understand that this is very crucial. This is very, very important. This exposition is as good as exposing the impunity in government. In fact, this one is directly eating into your own capital, into your pocket.
Mm.
You heard when Adams Oshiomhole was saying and lamented that he himself, as big man as he is, was forced to or compelled to buy his own transformer, the transformer he's using in Abuja. I'm not talking about his village. This one is happening at the seat of power in Abuja. And also, he has to pay bribe or, give out money and plead and beg the Abuja Distribution Company to connect his transformer so that he will have electricity. Even upon that, they keep billing him humongously. And even at that level, they don't even know what the law says, even as lawmakers. They are helpless at that level. Then you can imagine the ordinary people. And this is the worry of, actually, he was, talking about the privatization of distribution, electricity distribution in Nigeria. And you see that these guys are acting as gods in their different regions where they occupy. For instance, the EEDC have no competitor in the southeast, just up until geometric power plant kicks off. They don't have any competitor. So you are their mercy. Whatever they bill you, you must pay. You don't have any option. So today, we are highlighting on this issue, on this matter. We are highlighting on this matter so that people will understand how they are being ripped off. Everybody is a victim. Everybody is on this table. Why would you be paying a private company to buy their equipment in order for them to supply. Just like, and also this estimation is just like somebody that goes to the fuel station to buy fuel. And at the end of the day, you go to the fuel station, they just pour in. You can imagine buying fuel at the fuel station without meter. And they will tell you how much you are going to pay. If they tell you that they put in 20 liters, you just have to believe it and pay them. If they say they poured in 50 liters, you don't have to argue. You can't even see the proof that what they put for you is 50 liters, and you must pay. That is the situation of Nigerian people with their relationship with these power companies, and it has become a menace. Even me that is speaking, I'm even a victim currently, but I don't even have time. That is the problem of many people. They don't have time to go and look into this thing, to go and follow this thing up. You are billing me like 45,000 naira, whereas my cap may be about 8,000 naira. You see the gap. And we're comfortably paying for it because everybody believes who can fight, who can speak for you. That is why this young man is here today, to help every one of us to address this issue. In case you are paying too much, in case you are paying through your nose, the thing they choke you, this is where you are going to come so that we can address it. Bring your matter here. We even want to make it a consistent weekly program so that we can address every one of your problems and follow it up. N'ibisi ka akale nke bukuzikwa n'oke na atakazi ibu onye mwanya. Now, I think Ndubisi have joined us.
So
I think I'll bring in Ndubisi.
I want to.
Then I'll allow you to continue with your exposition. Let Ndubisi come in and give his own remark. Then we'll come back to you. Bring up Ndubisi to the program. Hello, Ndubisi. Good evening. You're welcome to the program tonight. Unmute yourself.
Hello, good evening, Chinedu. Double Chinedu at the studio.
If we're not going Chinedu,
can you hear?
I had all of them piano. What I go? So, Ndubisi, what do you got to say? I know you have your shared experience on this matter. Everybody has their own testimony.
Anyway, thank you, Chinedu, and greetings to you and our viewers all over the world. And good evening to you, Chinedu, from Enugu. I've standed my opinion previously that power issue should, the government itself should declare a state of emergency. It's not good enough to leave power, that is the electricity, at the hands of a monopolist or capitalist. EDC, as far as Southeast is concerned, is a monopoly. Is a monopolist. Forget that Geometric just joined them. Geometric is just minding about local governments in Abia State. Other local governments in the entire southeastern part of Nigeria is too much for EEDC. So that is where the problem starts. Because once the foundation is faulty, boss, Chile do not expect miracle. I do not expect any miracle coming from anybody. The foundation, that privatization, whatever process they followed in arriving at their final result, as far as me, it's my personal view, is faulty. And we are suffering from that faulty conclusion. So I do not want to blame EEDC because as far as I'm concerned, they are businessmen, they are private concern. Their motive is to maximize profit, push as many billions of naira as possible. They are using bank money. They don't print money. They don't manufacture money. The cost on this has increased to the high heavens, above 20%, getting close to 35% as we speak, and they need money to fund their business transaction. So the problem does not start with EEDC and end with them. It's whole system issue. In as much as we will sit here to blame EEDC for not providing meter for everybody, I mean meeting the metering gap in the system, or not pushing their workforce to deliver efficient services to electricity consumers. But to me, the bulk of my blame will go to the regulators, the government. Once they do what they should do, these guys will sit up. Once they supervise disco companies, once the rules they set are followed, because you have MOU now, and before you give somebody license, just like Enugu State, that just assumed supervision control over discos. I mean, electricity generation, transmission, and distribution within Enugu. They have assumed that responsibility. Now they have issued Manpower, that is a subsidiary of EEDC, temporary license that will last a period of 6 months. Now, if Manpower fails to do what they should ought to do, it's not me or Chinedu, consumers, that will be following them from one place to the other. It's led for them to set up a system that will monitor them. Once they fail to do what they are doing, they issue them query, and after that, termination of license. As simple as that. But we're on in business. That business to deliver services. Government is in power to ensure that those services are delivered, and people are there to enjoy services. It's done everywhere in the world, even in Africa. African countries are not, electricity is no longer their problem, it's no longer their issue. Our neighbor here, Cameroon, Ghana, even Cameroon here, nobody talks about power outage. Now in Nigeria, we are still talking about it. It's shameful. Then coming to what the Senate, Adams, Oshiomhole, and others reported, well, all of them are in the game. All of them are in the mess. Thank God they've started speaking up. Thank God. All of them are in the mess. They were all part of the system when Jonathan privatized power, sold power to their friends, to their political friends, and to themselves. They were governors, Adams them, they were governors of states enjoying the picnic. Now the picnic is getting over. So thank you, Chinedu, for the platform you've given us to speak out.
Yeah, that is the essence here, and I believe people could be able to understand how important this very exposition is to them. Okay, to our brother, let me have your opinion. You were saying something when I was bringing the VC in. What do you have to add to it?
Okay, I want to thank you once more. So the point is that uh, the the problem of Nigeria electricity supply industry, for us that are the consumers, I don't think we the headache. Our headache is not how the generation or the transmission. The people we deal with directly are the discos. So, and for me, anytime I see something that is not going well, what I usually ask myself is, what am I really going to do? What is my input? So, because what am I going to do? Because I don't really believe that if it took some people to get us to this deplorable state, there has to be something one will have to do. See if we begin to address this issue. So, and there are people in the Senate that are speaking up. There are people that are a lot of places that are speaking up. But before a society will have to take action, they have to have information. And I think what these platforms have, first of all, is to make sure that people are empowered with information on what to do. So, and what we are seeing, because particularly I've been to Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission. I've been there twice. I met with the chairman of Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission, and we talked, and he said yes, that we are going to. There's something they can do. So, and EC, for instance, I'm speaking for EC in Enugu. EC is a very young one. EC doesn't have. EC don't know whether you are buying new transformer. EC don't know. EC don't know if they are overbilling you. EC don't know that. The chairman of EC, when I spoke with him, he told me, say, if they've asked you to buy transformer, bring it on. Bring the case on. We want to see that. If they're overbilling you, bring it on. We want to see that. If they are not complying to cap, bring it on. Let's see it. Because what he told me particularly is that he is not going to listen to them say them say. Them say means you are saying that somebody have killed you. What? While I was in EC, I met the desk officer in EC, and I asked him, I said, somebody came with a petition, and the person said that they are overbilling him. He said, what do you mean by overbilling? What is the meaning of overbilling? Because in every industry, there's guideline guiding the industry. EC, for instance, in Enugu, they cannot get up and begin to sanction the disco if they don't have evidence. The people who are going to bring the evidence are the consumers. Consumers are the ones that are going to bring evidence. So it is very, very important that we have a very informed consumers. If you go and say they're overbilling you, what do you mean by overbilling? Somebody came in and said they're overbilling him, that is living in one room apartment, that they're overbilling him. They're living in one room apartment. Somebody can live in one room apartment and that person have a factory in that one room. So, what do you mean by overbilling? So, they want to know the only way you can determine that people are overbilling you is first of all that you have a postpaid meter. If you have a postpaid meter and they are not coming to read the meter, once you have a postpaid meter and they are reading the meter, you don't have a problem. Secondly, if they are not billing you according to cap, they're overbilling you too. So these are places that Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission, for instance, they are raring to go. But the problem they have in Enugu right now is that
I think he's freezing. I think his network is freezing. We hope to get it restored back again. We are still talking about electricity distribution in the southeast, and particularly the rate of extortion. This one is no longer shaky point extortion by security operative. This one is the extortion that is coming directly into your pocket, into your account, into your homes. You are paying for something you did not consume. That's what we are talking about right about now. So we have our guest who is experienced in this and who can elaborate, expatiate on these things. Okay? And for you to understand what you need to do, sometimes we feel helpless because we don't have knowledge, because we don't have information. And that is why we are here. Many people might look at this thing, it's not the kind of thing I want to listen to. It's not the kind of information I want to listen to. You want to watch, negative vibe kind of news and controversial news. This one is worse than anything you can think of, because as a person that is living in any space around Nigeria and you are connected to electricity, you are paying for electricity. Chances are high that you are being extorted, and that is what we want to put to a stop, because people are feeding fat from your ignorance. That is why we are here, and that is what we are here to put to a stop. Okay, so we have brother and the anchor of a consumer rights relationship activist who is being here to explain further, but I think his network went down and he left, but we are hoping to have him back again. But while we wait, let us recap you on the sentiment that actually drew our attention to this. If the rich can cry, who are you? If the rich are crying because of this, even if the privileged, they call themselves privileged people in the society, are victim of this thing, then a civilian. Now let us get back on that video where Adam Oshiomhole highlighted some of these things, and I'll be right back again. Don't go away.
Supported, against the wish of my colleagues, the idea of privatizing electricity. My main argument then was that the beauty of capitalism and of private ownership is that in seeking to make profit, they will render a service. But the danger of public ownership is that whether they render a service or not, they draw on the taxpayer treasury in the name of correcting what is there. I could never have imagined, as it is today, that a private person will collect money for services he did not render. And the Nigerian people are helpless. Even we here as privileged class have had to buy the transformer that I use here in the heart of Abuja. And to install it, I have to persuade, negotiate, and even effect payment to Abuja distribution, whatever, to connect the transformer I have procured personally with my resources. And hereafter, this transformer becomes the property of the disco. And every month, I am asked to pay bill on brand A or whatever.
Under your transformer.
Like you said, sir, every state governors, or most, spend public funds, buy transformers for communities. And then you still have to contribute money. Many of us, very soon, when we go back to the electorate, they are going to tell us that for 1 year, for 2 years, they've had no light. What is the problem? No transformer. And then they ask you, a senator, to go out and buy the transformer. You look for the money, you buy the transformer. And then they say, NEPA says you have to pay for them to connect the transformer to their grid. If cables are 40, you buy the cost, you buy the cable for them to install it. Even right now, I have requests from several communities asking me to buy their transformer and to get them connected. And yet, sir, the key element in distribution is transformer and cables, among others. So if these ones are now being procured by state government using public funds and individuals using their personal resources, what is the cost that these discos are incurring? Now, worse, the money they claim to have paid, because the logic of privatization was to inject private capital into these services. In truth, they went to borrow from Nigeria depositor funds in various banks, thereby killing some of those banks who have now become the liability of AMCON, which itself is also a contradiction about the logic of free market. And what they have borrowed, Mr. President, since the privatization took place, what they have borrowed through CBN and other sources is 10 times more than the amount they claim to have paid to become owners of those discos. Lastly, sir, as things stand, discos own no more than 60%, quote, own. So it is arguable where the total money you have borrowed from public sources is more than your private capital, whether you can still claim to be privately owned. 40%, as we speak, still belong to the federal government. But sir, there are no governing councils. There is no governing board for this discourse. So federal government owns 60% of a business and it has no say in the board of those companies. So there is no corporate governance. The one of Edo is owned by a pharmacist. The wife is a banker. The pharmacy becomes the chairman. The banker becomes the MD. They mismanage Edo economy, Delta economy, Ondo economy, Ekiti economy, and we are down right now in crisis. Even I, sir, that I don't live in Benin, my bill every month, I can't even afford it. So, Mr. President, I support the motion by my very good friend who lost an earlier motion, thanks to the vigilance of Mr. Senate President and your commitment to protect the poor. But this motion can benefit from a radical review, including the option of revoking the ill-conceived, ill-executed privatization and revisit it in line with the renewed agenda of Mr. President, that no one shall pay for services to a private Nigerian who did not render that service. We are going to a petrol station to buy fuel without a pump, and the person selling the fuel tells us this is the amount of liter I have injected. You have no means to verify it. May your leadership, sir, or common as it is, be the one that gives us the political will to revisit and protect Nigerians, rich or poor, who have been victimized by the fake new owners of this discourse. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome back again. We are still on Matters Arising, and we're talking about the EDC and other disco companies, what they don't want you to know. Talking about the exploitation happening within that industry that is eating deep into the lives of consumers in Nigeria. And we've had a guest who, unfortunately, I think because of bad network or perhaps any circumstance, got off. Okay, I think he's back again. Our brother Chinedu is back again with us on the program. Hello, my brother. You're welcome back again on the program. We hope that the network will allow you, or perhaps the Nigerian factor will allow you to continue in the program tonight uninterrupted. Can you hear me? I think you are muted. Are you muted? Check if you are muted. All right, continue. No, I can't hear you. All right, go on. Yeah, go on. I can't really hear you. I think there is a mix-up somewhere. Okay. I think he's breaking. Hello? I think your network is really affecting. Check your network and see if you have a strong network. Well, let us try to fix this issue. While we do that, we encourage our viewers to get their questions ready in case you have any. Yeah, go on. If you are, I think I heard you a couple of times. Go on.
If there is no way we are going to move forward except if people begin to take action. So the action is, you cannot be lamenting about virtually everything. There is something you have to do. So, and the system is in a deplorable state. And the only thing that will get us off the ground is if people are armed with information. For instance, why I keep citing the example of Enugu is that the regulator, I spoke with him at a length, and he told me that, yes, say they are ready to work. Bring the cases. Where are the cases? So you are telling people, okay, bring on your case. And people because of long years of people don't believe that any of the process will work. And what I'm saying is that if to buy transformer and they say you should buy transformer and you just go and buy
the idea of privatizing electricity. I could never have imagined as it is today that a private person will collect money for services he did not render. And the Nigerian people are helpless. Even we here as privileged have had to buy the transformer I use here in the house, and to I have to persuade, negotiate, and effect payment to Abuja distribution, whatever, to connect the transformer I have procured personally with my resources. And hereafter, this transformer becomes the property of the disco. And every month, I am asked to pay bill on brand A or whatever.
Under your transformer.
Like you supported against the wish of my colleagues, the idea of privatizing electricity. My main argument then was that the beauty of capitalism and of private ownership is that in seeking to make profit, they will render a service. But the danger of public ownership is that whether they render a service or not, they draw on the taxpayer treasury in the name of correcting what is there. I could never have imagined as it is today that a private person will collect money for services he did not render. And the Nigerian people are helpless. Even we here as privileged class have had to buy the transformer that I use here in the heart of Abuja. And to install it, I have to persuade, negotiate, and even effect payment to Abuja distribution to connect the transformer I have procured personally with my resources. And hereafter, this transformer becomes the property of the disco. And every month, I am asked to pay bill on brand A or whatever.
Under your transformer.
Like you said, sir, every state governors, or most, spend public funds, buy transformers for communities. And then you still have to contribute money. Many of us, very soon, when we go back to the electorate, they are going to tell us that for 1 year, for 2 years, they've had no light. What is the problem? No transformer. And then they ask you a senator to go and buy the transformer. You look for the money, you buy the transformer. And then they say, NEPA says you have to pay for them to connect the transformer to their grid. If cables are faulty, you buy the cable for them to install it. Even right now, I have requests from several communities asking me to buy the transformer and to get them connected. And yet, sir, the key element in distribution is transformer and cables, among others. So if these ones are now being procured by state government using public funds and individuals using their personal resources, what is the cost that these discos are incurring? Now, worse, the money they claim to have paid, because the logic of privatization was to inject private capital into these services. In truth, they went to borrow from Nigeria depositor funds in various banks, thereby killing some of those banks who have now become the liability of AMCON, which itself is also a contradiction about the logic of free market. And what they have borrowed, Mr. President, since the privatization took place, they have borrowed through CBN and other sources, is 10 times more than the amount they claim to have paid to become owners of those discos. Lastly, sir, as things stand, Discos own no more than 60%, quote, own. So it is arguable where the total money you are borrowed from public sources is more than your private capital, whether you can still claim to be privately owned. 40% as we speak still belong to the federal government. But sir, there are no governing councils. There is no governing board for this discourse. So federal government owns 60% of a business and it has no say in the board of those companies. So there is no corporate governance. The one of Edo is owned by a pharmacist. The wife is a banker. The pharmacy becomes the chairman. The banker becomes the MD. They mismanage Edo economy, Delta economy, Ondo economy, Ekiti economy, and we are down right now in crisis. Even I, sir, that I don't live in Benin, my bill every month, I can't even afford it. So, Mr. President, I support the motion by my very good friend who lost an earlier motion, thanks to the vigilance of Mr. Senate President and your commitment to protect the poor. But this motion can benefit from a radical review, including the option of revoking the ill-conceived, ill-executed privatization and revisit it in line with the renewed agenda of Mr. President, that no one shall pay for services to a private Nigerian who did not render that service. We are going to a petrol station to buy fuel without a pump. And the person selling the fuel tells us this is the amount of liter I have injected. You are not means to verify it. May your leadership, sir, or common as it is, be the one that gives us the political will to revisit and protect Nigerians, rich or poor, who have been victimized by the fake new owners of this discourse. Thank you, Mr. President.
That is it, my people. You have had it extensively. I want to apologize for the glitches we are having on the program today. It seems or shows that there are forces that are mitigating against this information reaching a lot of people. And you see the way a lot of people are not showing concern about this very most important aspect of their lives. Our guests, unfortunately, because of network, they are not, in fact, our system is jamming as we speak, but we're just trying to hang on and tell you that this program, whether they like it or not, we are going to make it a weekly program so that people will know how they are being stolen from. Like someone who made a comment here, Ferdinand Ogier, who said that I was charged for the building I am not occupying in Edo State while I am in diaspora, charged over 400,000. That is the case. And I can tell you that is the consequence of estimated billing. Okay? Because if you had meter or you are prepaid or postpaid, they cannot be billing you in that manner. And I can tell you what we normally do to avoid that as a layman is to write them to disconnect that building and discontinue any billing on that building pending whenever you come back. But if somebody is occupying that building or property, make sure you take steps that we are going to be unveiling on this platform moving forward. That's why it is important people hook up to this channel. I am not a know-all. That's why we bring people who are specialists in this field, who is going to expose the information to you that you will use in order to address some of this stealing that is happening. You know, we feel so helpless in the hands of the monopolies who are distribution companies of electricity in Nigeria. But there are things you can do. It is because of your misinformation or lack of information entirely. That's why people are living or being vulnerable. They are at the mercy of these electricity distribution companies. But all of this is what we are addressing on this platform. We are taking a holistic view to liberate the people from bad governance, because the privatization issue coming from the government side because of their ineffectiveness and their corrupt mindedness. They share these very important sectors to individuals who are not ready to invest. They are just only raking out, milking out the resources of the people without even delivering the service. So if you want to get more of this information, make this platform your base, because whether they like it or not, whether they are jamming our network and signals, we must continue on this so that people will be bringing in their notice. People will be sharing their experiences. We will be addressing it and telling them what to do in order to recover all the money they have stolen from you, all the overbilling they have been stolen from you. This is where we give you the information on how to recover it. We will help you recover it, and that is why we are here. Okay? This platform is not just an ordinary platform to give you. We help you to solve societal problems for public interest. So, despite the fact that we are wrapping up on today's program, I want to appreciate sincerely all those who have been watching and following us. Since January till now, you've remained consistent on this platform. You've been sharing and exchanging ideas and information, and at some point criticizing what we are doing that molds us to serve you better. We really appreciate every one of you. Honestly speaking, I can tell you that next year will be much better. And we are going to build a formidable force, a formidable community right here on this platform to liberate the people from bad governance, because that is my commitment and that of my team. So I want to sincerely appreciate every one of you who have joined us from all our social media handles, from our YouTube channel, from our backup channel on YouTube, which is BVI Channel 1 Plus. It is very important you know that. Go and search for it, BVI Channel 1 Plus. We're also streaming from there. It is our backup channel, Makada Mama. You know, our first experience when this channel was terminated, it took the grace of God, the intervention of the Supreme Being, whom we are serving, his purpose on earth to liberate his people from the clutches of principalities and powers, rulers in the dark places in Nigeria, Africa, and humanity in general. So that's why we are back again. We are able to recover the channel, but we set up a backup channel that is BVI Channel 1 Plus. Okay? I think our guest has just returned back again. I don't know what has been the case or the issue, but we are going to definitely give him that time to expatiate on some of the issues bothering on what we're discussing tonight. It is important we hang on and listen to him in order for you to understand the depth of the criminality that is happening against you when it comes to power distribution. Okay? My brother Chinedu, I guess you are here. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. With my connection here. So, but what I'm saying is that our people are hurting, and what we will be encouraging, because I don't really want this thing to be something we are going to do for a day and stop. If you know how monumental it is, you know that it is something we should be picking up again and again and again. So, not taking people's time. What people are going to do is, well, I was citing the instance of Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission. There are what they are working with is, it is not about you. They want information. I reported a community. That community, they are EDC asked them to go and buy transformer. So I approached the community. So I called Enugu Electricity Regulatory Commission, and I informed them that there is a community that EEDC are saying they are coercing them to replace a transformer that got faulty. And actually, it is not the responsibility of the consumer to replace a transformer that has got faulty. The 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 cost of repairing the cost of the transformer is factored in the electricity bill that you pay every month. So when it breaks down, it is responsibility of the disco to fix. So, but I told the community that what they should do is to write a letter. People, because of a long time, people during the era of NEPA and the PACN, what our people believe is that that government is the owner of electricity, but now it is a private individual. If you are not aware of all this, in Enugu, what we have is that genuine petition is not coming up at EC. EC is raring to go, but petition is not coming up to EC. Even in Anambra, you are talking about NEC forum. There is a woman, particularly the woman went to NEC forum today. The woman moved from Lagos. He moved from Lagos to Onitsha. So when he moved into Onitsha, the particular building where the woman is residing, that particular building, there is a backlog of bill of, let's say, around there's a backlog of bill over ₦1 million. When the woman entered the building, they told the woman that what she should be doing is that she have to pay 90,000 naira, so that the 90,000 naira she will pay is to activate the account of the flat where she is supposed to enter. So she paid 90,000 naira. They are telling her that she should be bringing money and be paying into that account. But the regulations say it is not so. You are not supposed to do that. So I brought the woman. I have to make a genuine complaint for her. We bringing the relevant section of the 2023 Consumer Protection Regulation. We forwarded it to NEC. So the case came up at NEC forum today. And today they have told EEDC, because yesterday they came and disconnected the woman. They called EEDC to reconnect the woman. The woman was in NEC forum, and they called his marketer to go and reconnect her. And after reconnecting her, they told her that she is not going to pay any. It is not going to be her responsibility to continue paying for the arrears of the previous occupants. So there is something the people need to do. This platform, what we should serve is that we should pick up this information and let a whole lot of people know. The regulatory bodies, they abide by the agreement they signed. If the consumers are not doing anything, there's nothing anybody is going to do. So monthly energy cap, they publish it every month. In this platform, we can make the monthly energy cap very popular in this platform. So if we make it popular,
we notice we notice it. That is Nigerian factor. That is what we are talking about. The kingdom of darkness, where people pay for the lead. Even the one I'm using, what I'm using is solar. What we are using here is solar. So we are independent of that madness. Oh God. Hmm. Oh, oh no, for sure. For sure, the program will be a weekly program. In fact, once we come from this Xmas yellow tide, this program will be a weekly program because wahala for this one no dey finish. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Mm. 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 Oh, all right. Mm. Okay. Thank you very much, my brother. Let's just take one issue. Somebody asked something here as a concern. He said, and that's coming from Ferdinand or Ogie. When you were away, I read it out, but I want to get your response on this very issue this guy raised here. He said, I was charged for the building I'm not occupying in Edo State while I am in diaspora. I was charged over 400,000 naira. So what should this person do and what could lead to that? And if somebody is in this situation, what should the person do? And how can somebody avoid being in this kind of situation? Are you there? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, and thank you so much for that very submission and being part of the program. We appreciate those who have been watching us, especially from our YouTube channels and also on our Facebook. We have Emeka Victor. We appreciate you. Otito Gentle said that prepaid meter is the answer to all of these things. We agree with you. Okay, so to those who have watched this far, we appreciate you. We hope you are going to join us again, and we'll continue on Matters Arising tomorrow. And we wish you the compliments of the season, the best of this season. Chinedu, thank you for joining us, and we hope you are going to come back again as we continue in this awareness creation to inform the people better. Thank you so much for joining. All right, that is where we wrap it up on today's edition of Matters Arising. And as we are wrapping it up, please don't forget to subscribe, follow us on all our social media platforms where you are watching from, whether on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Be part of this great community where we are molding a very informed people that will stand their ground and liberate themselves from bad governance. I still remain Asuchine Peters, the advocate for good governance. Bye-bye for now.
The idea of privatizing electricity. I could never have imagined as it is today that a private person will collect money for services he did not render. And the Nigerian people are helpless. Even we negotiate and even effect payment to Abuja distribution, whatever, to connect the transformer I have procured personally with my resources. And hereafter, this transformer becomes the property of the disco. And every month, I am asked to pay bill on brand A or whatever.
Under your transformer.
Like you said, sir,